everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. So today's video, I just want to talk about things no one tells you about college. So let's get started. My shirt is so cute. It's fluffy. I don't know where I got it from. I got it literally 10 years ago. It might be from Charlotte Russe. I don't know. Don't quote me. But I love it. Anyway, so I wanted to make this video today because I've been to 3 different colleges and it dawned on me, I know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to college. And there are definitely some things that I wish I had known beforehand, and that's why I want to give you guys some tips and some tricks. Okay, so the first tip I want to give you guys is definitely explore community college as an option if that is something you are open to. Now, I understand that this is not ideal for everybody, just for various reasons, and that's totally okay. But, you know, if you're not going to school on a sports scholarship, or if you're not interested in joining a sorority right away, maybe look into community college. I have gone to 2 community colleges and 1 university, and community college is so much more affordable. And I like community college because the classes are small and, you know, you really get that one-on-one attention that, you know, maybe you need with your professor. I have a learning disability, so, you know, community college has been a really big help with that, especially being in the engineering department. You know, classes are very small. It's very easy to, you know, ask questions, speak up, your professors know you, and overall, I really, really like community college. So definitely explore that. If that's something that you are open to, I think it is a great option. There's nothing at all to be ashamed of when it comes to community college. I don't know where that stigma came from. Everybody that, you know, I've gone to community college with, they're very smart individuals. The professors are amazing. There are a ton of resources, you know, when it comes to tutoring, and, you know, just there's so much that they offer, and I think it's a great option. Okay, so the next tip I have is, regardless of where you end up going to school, don't schedule that early morning class if you're not an early morning person. I know it sounds good and you're thinking, but I can get all my classes done early and get them out the way and have the whole rest of the day to myself. If you're not a morning person, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. It's miserable. I'm a night person, so I understand some people hate evening classes, and that's personal preference. I have taken a few 8 a.m. classes and they were a nightmare. Some of the most fun that I've had in class was my evening classes. I found that they're just a lot more laid back in my experience. I've taken evening classes at all 3 of the colleges that I've gone to, and I enjoy evening classes so much more. Again, maybe it's just a matter of personal preference, but I did not like any early morning class that I have ever had at all. I hate waking up early and dragging myself there. And then the thing that makes it even worse too is you know, I mean, the majority of classes, depending on where you go to school, but in my experience, the majority of classes that I've had, attendance is not required. So it's hard to force yourself to get up and go when you know, well, I'll just get the notes from somebody, or I'll just read the chapter myself at home. I don't need to go to class. I'll sleep in. And then before you know it, you're doing that every single time. And then you're missing out on a class that you're paying a lot of money for. So that's a really big tip that I just want to throw out there. If you're not a morning person, if you're not into that, don't do it. It's a terrible idea. It sounds good. Don't do it. Okay, so the next really big tip that I have for you guys, and this one is very broad, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Ask questions. And when I say ask questions, I don't just mean in class. Yes, definitely ask questions in class. Absolutely. But also don't be afraid to, you know, not just ask your professor questions, ask people around you questions. If there's something you're confused about, if there's something you need clarification on, don't be afraid to, you know, just ask someone who sits near you. You know, maybe if you're working kind of in a group, you know, don't be afraid to just say hey, you know, I was confused on this part. Do you guys understand this? Because there's been a lot of times when I've done that and the person I asked was no, I didn't understand it either, but I didn't want to ask. So the 2 of us together can, you know, go up to the professor and say hey, look, we're both confused on the same thing. Can you help us? Also ask questions, you know, when it comes to what, services your school has available, such as, advisement options, tutoring options. The school that I go to right now, they have tutoring, but in addition to that, they have something called the Math Cafe, which is basically tutoring, but just for math. So they have regular tutoring for all the other classes, and then they have tutoring just for math. So, ask about resources like that. The school that I go to also has a lot where if you are low income, they help you out a lot with like food. They have like a pantry. They'll give you groceries as long as you can provide proof that you are low income. They have a program where they will lend you clothes to wear to an interview if you don't have interview clothes. They have a lot of different things. I think that they'll help you with like writing resumes or like, learning how to properly interview. A lot of resources like that are available. You just have to ask for them. And, also ask questions when it comes to your classes. Don't be afraid to say like, hey, I know this class is required for my major, but I'm really not interested in that class. I don't like it at all. Could I maybe swap it out for something else? The worst they could say is no. You're paying a lot of money to be there, and they should be catering to you. That's just how I see it. So don't be afraid to ask those kinds of things. Don't be afraid to say like, hey, look, I have a question. Hey, look, can you help me? Hey, what can you do for me? What can you offer me? Because from my experience, from what I've seen, is that they want to help you, but it's not like high school where they're going to come and find you. You have to reach out to them and ask what is out there for you. Okay, so the next tip I have is, this one mostly applies just to freshmen really, but dress comfortably and come to class prepared for the things that you feel like you need. And basically what I mean by this is, don't be trying to get so caught up in what everybody else is wearing, what everybody else has. Maybe they have some super fancy calculator that you think, oh, I might not need that, but I want it just because they have it. Don't get caught up in that. Just do whatever feels right for you. Wear clothes that are going to be comfortable for you, especially if you go to a big university and you're going to be walking around all day. If it's super hot or it's super cold, you want to be prepared for all of that. Of course, you want to look cute and you want to look presentable. I totally understand. But, try to do it in a way that you're not so uncomfortable that you can't even sit through class. Pick out a really good backpack that fits your personality, fits your style, something that you feel great about. Make sure you have enough folders, enough notebooks. I always try to have at least one extra of each, and I don't necessarily carry those every single day, the extra ones, but at least I know I have them. If one of my notebooks gets wet, then I at least know like I have a backup. And just having like little things like that to make yourself kind of have that peace of mind and feel a little bit more comforted, I think that makes all of the difference. Also, going off of my last tip, the next tip that I have, now I did not live in a dorm on campus. I did have a student apartment, but similar to what I just said about, not being so caught up in what other people are thinking about you, don't try to like, dress to look cute or, get people's attention. But also the same thing goes for your dorm room. And I know it's super intimidating when you get on YouTube and you see all of the really pretty, super aesthetic dorm room tours and dorm shopping hauls and all that. That's not reality. It's okay to, decorate and take pride in your space, and, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't get so caught up in it and worrying about, this impression that you feel like you have to make, that, you're breaking the bank just on decorations and, stuff from Target and stuff from Wayfair and stuff. Do what feels right for you and what feels comfortable for you, because at the end of the day, none of that stuff is going to matter when you look back. I lived in a dorm when I worked at Cedar Point, which I know is different. It's not quite the equivalent of a student dorm, but when I look back, that was 5 years ago. I don't worry about what did my dorm look like. No, when I think about living there, I think about the roommates that I had and the good times that we had and the memories we made. I didn't care about what was hanging on the wall or what color my bedspread was. None of that stuff mattered. And like I said, though, it is important to have a space that you feel comfortable in, absolutely. But, you know, don't get so caught up in all the little nitpicky things and like, oh, I have to have, you know, every single quote and every single picture and I have to have everything coordinating. You know, if that's not you naturally, then don't try to go out of your way to have that be you. Because also in addition to that is like, you know, when you see all these pretty pictures and all these pretty videos, you know, it only looks like that the first day. Once you actually start going to class and, you know, having friends over and you're so exhausted, you come home, you know, you're not going to make your bed every single day. You're not going to tidy up every single day. There's a good chance there's going to be a pile of clothes on your bed. There's going to be books and pencils and stuff all over the place. You know, your friends are going to come in and kick their shoes off and flop on your bed. And I mean, that's normal. That's life. You know, you're living in the dorm, so it's going to look like it's lived in. It's not going to be pretty and perfect 24/7, and that's okay. So don't get so caught up in trying to, you know, keep up with what everyone else is doing. You know, just do what feels right for you and what makes you comfortable. Okay, so the next tip that I have, and this one isn't really like, you know, something I wish someone would have told me, but this is something I figured out on my own, and that's okay. But this tip is, if the school that you are at is not the best fit for you, you know, if you don't feel totally comfortable there, if you feel like you're not living your best life at that school, it is totally okay to transfer and go somewhere else. Try a different college. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I've gone to 3 different schools, and that's okay, because the first school that I went to, they were awful. They were terrible. They were very unprofessional. I had very bad experiences with advisors, you know, every time, just every single person you came in contact with. All of the faculty just really seemed miserable and very uninterested in being there and doing their job. So I transferred to another school. I had a similar experience. I wouldn't say that school was quite as bad, but it wasn't great. It wasn't an excellent fit for me. I just wasn't happy there. So I transferred to another school where I'm at now, and I'm very happy there. I love every single person literally on that whole entire campus. Every single professor that I have had is amazing. Every advisor that I've come across has gone above and beyond to be helpful and to do, you know, whatever was best for me. Anything that I needed, any questions I needed asked, like, they are right there on top of it. Like I said, I have a learning disability, so, you know, dealing with the, I think it's called the Supportive Services Office. Can't remember, but everyone in that office is amazing. They know me by name. You know, they call to check up on me every now and then. They send emails to make sure that, you know, if you need anything, like, they're there to help you, and I love it. So, you know, if you're not happy where you're at, definitely, you know, look into some other options. You know, don't feel like you're stuck. Don't feel like, you know, like, oh, I'm here now, I made my decision, so this is where I have to stay. No, definitely not. If you're not happy, you know, it's not worth, you know, wasting 4 years of your life or 6 years of your life and all that money. And, you know, it should be a happy time for you, and it should be something that you're proud of. You should be glad to say, like, hey, I went to, you know, such and such university and I loved it. I had a great experience. Like, you deserve to be able to say that. So I think that's a really big one that I really, you know, want to kind of emphasize, because I have experience in this area. So a lot of people are kind of surprised when I tell them that, like, yeah, I've gone to, you know, 3 different colleges now, but just because, you know, if it's not the right fit, it's not the right fit. You can't force something that isn't right. So yeah. Okay, so this next tip, and something I wish people would have told me, is if you're not naturally an outgoing person, still try to make friends. Try to communicate with people. This was something at the first 2 colleges that I went to. I had no friends at all because I didn't talk to anybody. I just went to class, did my work, came home, that was it. Like I said, I lived in a student apartment, but I had a 1-bedroom apartment and I lived alone. Looking back, I really wish that someone would have told me, hey, get roommates. Now, I'm not the type of person who likes to share my space, but I think in situations like that, when it comes to like college and that type of experience, I think it's a lot better, in my opinion, if you do get to share that with somebody. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a whole lot to be said. You know, when you live alone, you come home, it's peace and quiet, you know, it's exactly how you left it. You don't have to worry about coming home after a long day to a bunch of people in your space. You can literally just relax, do whatever you have to do. So that's great too. But I wish that someone would have told me to socialize more, make more friends, you know, explore the possibilities and the idea of having a roommate or two. I think that would have made my experience at those schools maybe not necessarily better, but it probably would have been a little bit different. Now the school that I'm at now, I try to make friends. I mean, I don't have any like best friends that I made in school, but you know, I'm friendly to the people who sit near me. And in the engineering classes, we do a lot of group work. So even just, you know, cracking jokes, you know, like loosening up a little bit, like while you're all at the workbench, you know, working together, just, you know, making sure that, you know, you enjoy yourself in the moment. And I think that that's something that, like I said, I wish I would have known before. But that's something I definitely learned now, and I do keep that in mind. So that's another tip I just wanted to kind of pass along. So those are all of my tips for today. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys are interested in a part 2, that is something that I'm willing to do. So let me know down in the comments, because like I said, I have plenty of experience when it comes to colleges. So if there's anything you guys want to know, let me know down in the comments. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Bye guys.